Hello,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It's almost end of day Monday, which is exciting.
Yes, Mondays are always such a welcome to the week.
Yes, it's been a wild Monday today, so I'm looking forward to having this podcast episode with you, and then I'm gonna make some soup, I think.
Oh, okay, that sounds very yummy, and especially with the weather like turning
Yeah.
cooler is like the perfect meal.
I have been trying to make soup like once a week now because I get cold so easily. So where do you live at?
I actually live in Kentucky.
Okay, so you're not too far. I'm in Nashville.
Oh my gosh, you're like the part of Kentucky I'm in, I'm like an hour and a half from Nashville, hour and
Oh,
15 minutes from Nashville.
that's awesome.
Being just like over an hour from me, I'm there quite a bit, and I was
Okay.
literally there just like a few weeks ago. So
Okay.
I'm so happy to finally have this episode with you. I know we've had some bits and bobs coming in and out with sickness and just busy schedules, so I'm happy we were able to chat today.
Yeah, thank you for making it work. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course. I absolutely loved your book.
Thank you.
I'm so happy that you wanted to write like a hockey series. Like, I don't know why, but hockey has always been one of my favorite things to read. And I don't watch hockey. Like, that was my
Okay.
introduction to hockey was when I started reading hockey romance. And I'm just like, I may not get the sport, like, be an avid fan already, but like, it
Mhm.
has sucked me in.
Yeah, what's funny is I'm the exact opposite. I love hockey so much, and I just happened to write a hockey romance because it worked well with like what I was interested in, and it kind of just happened. But I previously like was not reading any hockey romance or anything like that. I just generally like the sport. I'm from Chicago originally and grew up when the Blackhawks were at their prime, so I just have always followed it.
Oh wow. Okay, that's really cool because like you sort of did like a reverse psychology with that one.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like I do love sports. Like I am an avid football girly, baseball girly. Like I will tell you all about my favorite teams. You will be sick of me by the end of it if we get talking about it. So, sports romance is not new to me, but hockey was like one of the first sports romances that I read,
I love
and
that.
it's now my favorite. So like I love it.
I love that.
So I'm so happy to get to talk to you today all about Summer Shot. And for our listeners out there who may not have had the chance to pick it up yet, would you like to explain a little bit of what they can expect from that one and the entire series so far?
Yeah, so Summer Shot is the second book in the Wyverns Hockey series. It's college hockey, taking place in Michigan. Yes, I did say Wyverns Hockey. It is a hint to potential romantasy in the future. I'm a romantasy girly at heart, so I wanted to tie something into the book that had to do with the fantasy romantasy genre. So that is where Wyverns is coming from. I get asked that all the time, how I came up with the team name. It is very intentional. It wasn't like a happy accident. It is definitely intentional. So fun fact.
I
Um,
love that. That was literally my first thought when I seen the team name. When I started reading, I was like, this is just giving fantasy and I'm living for it.
I love that. Well, I'm glad that you caught that because that's definitely in the future for me. But the Wyvern Talkie series, there's two books. So Summer Shot is the second book. I don't think, remind me, did you read the first one or did you jump right into the second one?
Let me think. I think I did just jump into the second
Okay.
one, but I have the first one on my Kindle too.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm curious because I personally don't think you have to read the first one to be able
Hmm.
to read the second one.
No,
It
no,
is
no.
the same couple, which is a little different than most sports romance series. The first three books are all the same couple. They just had so much to tell. One Shot, I would say, is a little more emotional and heavy hitting, tied in with obviously a lot of romance, but it goes through kind of the healing journey of the FMC, and you don't see that as much in Summer Shot. So Summer Shot is a little more lighthearted, definitely unexpected, I would say, um, compared to One Shot that is a little more heavy hitting, still both slow burn romances. But it starts off with the main character getting the opportunity to work for the PR and marketing team of the Wyverns to go to school at West Michigan, and she kind of meets the MMC there, and is trying to figure out her life because she's gone through a lot of um, big emotional events. So she's trying to find herself and happens to kind of find it through this experience with hockey and through the experience with the MMC Lucas. So both super close to my heart. I love them both, but vastly different kind of books.
That was like a beautiful way to sum it up because like I always if there are like interconnected series like where you can either pick up on the second, third, fourth, fifth book or you can start from the beginning. I always still try to start from the first unless it's like okay, so I have this on my Kindle, I'm going to pick up like for instance when we was going to do this interview, I was like okay, I'm going to jump into the second one and I love it because, like you said, yes, you can start this series from the
Yeah.
second book and you don't feel like anything's lost in translation, which is how you know like an interconnected is very well done. So hats off to you for that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. The first one shot, is on Kindle Unlimited.
Mhm.
So if you're interested in reading it, you can definitely find it there. It's only been there for a few weeks, so it's relatively new on KU.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just find like I have so many little connections to this story because one, I just loved the characters. I love the story. Like we discussed, I love the hockey romance. And then the Wyverns, like I said, I read that and I was immediate like
Oh,
romanticy clocked. So I'm happy to know that that's sort of in the books for you, hopefully in the future.
yeah.
And then the ties to Michigan. Literally, I'm in Michigan a couple times during the year because we have family up there.
Oh, nice.
So all of it just sort of goes like comes full circle, and I was finding bits in the whole story that was touching. So that was amazing.
Love that.
So with did you ever see yourself writing like a sports romance? Like I know you said you just sort of ended up writing hockey, you would because you already loved it, but like would that have been the sport that you would had pictured yourself to write?
Yeah, if I was going to pick a sport, like prior to this all happening, if someone were to ask me like, hey, you have to write a romance book, it has to have a sport in it, pick the sport, I would have said hockey just because I love it.
Mhm.
I like more NHL than I do college hockey, but I kind of started writing college hockey because there was a lot like within college, a lot of things change that you're growing, you're learning, you're
Right.
dealing with so many things in a compact period of time. I feel like that like 4 years really changes you,
Mhm.
and the main character really goes through a lot of change in her life. So I felt like that was a good fit for her to be in college. I also kind of wrote it more as like if I could do college over, here's what my life would be. So that was very, very fun to do. But yes, I would definitely say hockey. I started writing actually like when I started writing One Shot, I had like three different books that I kind of had in mind. And One Shot is just the one that kind of took over and really just I couldn't stop writing. I wrote the entire outline in the first three chapters like in less than a day, which is a lot for me to do. So I was just really like it's something that I couldn't control. It came pouring out of me, and the story was like begging me to share it. So it
Yeah.
kind of just worked in that way. Like I said, I love hockey, so it was a really awesome experience for me to combine my love for hockey with romance books and writing all into one. It's kind of just like the perfect storm.
Yeah, literally. And I love that you did write the college hockey romance because I think that I always enjoy books a whole lot more like when I'm in the age range. Because like it seems, the college age, unless it is like a college romance, it's harder to find books. Like I'm almost 24, and that's such an odd number to like have an FMC or the main characters. And so every time I find that, it's really, really fun for me because you can see yourself in it like a lot more because they're feeling the same things, like you said, the female character going through everything, figuring out, what your life is going to be like in college is so eye-opening. So it's always nice when you have that.
Yeah, that's funny you say that because I'm actually the opposite. So I'm in my 30s,
Hmm.
and you can't tell, right?
No, you
Yeah.
can't.
But I was hesitant to write college because I'm like, oh, I don't really read a lot of college, but it kind of just worked that way where the story made sense put in a college setting. I will eventually and have like drafts in process write NHL with some older characters and have written some some work in progresses that will have like an older FMC and MMC. I do love an age gap, so
Yeah.
that is not going to limit me in any way. But I love that you could connect well with it. I still think like even though I'm not the same age as the characters, like I still felt like I could connect with them in a way, just because of wanting the desire to like if I were to go back in school, this is what I would want things to kind of be like. So
And I love that sort of mindset going into it, and that you were able to include a little bit of what your second life would have looked like, like if you could have done this, or if this would have went that way, if this would have happened. So I think it's really just overall very, very cool.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So what was some of the inspiration behind Laura and Lucas's main story, like the main characters for the story?
Yeah. They have the first book, like I said, is a little more heavy hitting. They have a long, winding story, but it's really rooted in hockey and their love for hockey. Laura's brother played with Lucas in the past, and her dad played hockey, and she has just always been surrounded by hockey her whole life. And Lucas wants to play for the NHL after college, and obviously that is his main goal in life is to do that, and he's always around like they're both I can't talk right now. They're both always ingrained in hockey, so like that bond over that. But I think for me, I really wanted an FMC that was relatable, but also someone that you could see going through tough times and getting through it in the end, without giving too much away. There's a lot of mental health rep in both books,
Mm.
and that was really important to me. And that's something that they kind of also bond over the stress of being 22 and thinking about your entire future within a span of a couple of hockey games. So that's something I think that they bond over as well. But they both, I get asked a lot, like, do any of my characters, like, which one am I the most like? I don't know if there is one. Like, to me, they're both like little pieces of me, within, like, interwoven within each of the characters. What cracks me up is I am such a morally gray male MMC person. Like I love morally gray males, and
Yeah.
I didn't even write one. So I started to like now that I've written a golden retriever MMC, I've started to gravitate more towards those type of books, and I think that was really important for Lucas to have those qualities because he's the captain of the team. He needs to be level-headed. He needs to be the one who's making the hard decisions at the end of the day. And that's also what Laura needs. She needs someone who is that golden retriever energy and someone who's compassionate and understanding. And she hasn't had that in her past, so she really found what she was looking for within Lucas.
That is so beautiful. And I just love the dynamic because, like you said, that was the perfect combination of what,
Mhm.
each of the main characters needed. And I just love they're so full of so many different things, so many different connections. Like each reader can take read a book and take something totally different from it.
Mhm.
And it's just like so beautiful how one book connects so many people, and like the stories, like whether you see yourself in it or if you've lived it already or if you're getting ready to start college for this book example. And it's just so crazy how literature really does change people's lives.
Yeah, I didn't really expect it to have as big of an impact as it did. Like when I was writing it, I still get messages from people who are reading more on the one-shot realm because I like I mentioned, it's just a little heavier. It has some like heavy topics
Hmm.
interwoven in it with like loss and grief and things like that. And I never imagined that people would be like, "Thank you for writing this." Like I could connect with it, or like I feel like understood, or this is something that was done really well but wasn't triggering that I could relate to. So that was a big thing for me. Like I never intentionally wanted to impact people in that positive way with kind of those sensitive topics. It was more of me just kind of writing and getting it out. And
Yeah.
it was great that I was able to make that connection and help people in a way I never imagined that would be possible. So that's definitely my favorite part of my entire writing journey so far.
Yeah, that would have to be like so magical to just sort of like treat your books as like your own therapy and like
Yeah.
pouring everything that's in here onto a page and then being out there and vulnerable enough to share it with a whole new audience and then see people fall in love with it just as much as you enjoyed it and that you connect with it.
Yeah. Yeah. That is very well said. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy that you decided to start writing and that you are sharing these stories. Did you always like picture yourself as a writer, or how did that happen? Like, I know you said that college romance just sort of, you never saw yourself doing it and it just sort of
Yeah.
happened, but
I've always loved writing. I've always been very creative. I love to tell stories, and I think that's like where it all stems from is like when I was younger, I was always the girl who's like turned in like a one-page paper, and instead of one page, it was like 20 pages. And I would have a little sister, like I would tell her stories before bed and like make up the most like extravagant random things. I remember telling her like, hey, by the way, if you hear the window close, it's because I'm friends with Harry Potter and he's coming to pick me up later, so don't tell mom and dad, kind of thing like that. Like I would always just be making up stories.
I love that.
And it's something that that one like I distinctly remember. She probably doesn't, but I do. Um I like I said, I've always liked telling stories, so it kind of just happened. I was looking for a new outlet because I was kind of feeling like my day to day wasn't really fulfilling. I have a day job and it just wasn't doing enough for me. And I was kind of like, what can I do to fill this hole that I have? What can I do to feel like I am empowered and feel fulfilled and feel like I'm making a difference in something? And I kind of just started writing because I was on Bookstagram and actually started being on Bookstagram because of these books right here, because of Akatar.
But we all,
Yes, my favorite forever. I was looking for stickers. I wanted book stickers and I couldn't find the quotes and things I wanted, so I started making my own and then opened up an Etsy shop and that's how I started Bookstagram. And I was kind of like, there's this whole community of people that support other people who are writing, like why can't I be one of those people that they support? So it kind of just happened. It wasn't planned. I think it's always something I've been interested in doing. I just never thought it would be like a career. So I'm very lucky that I got the opportunity to do that. One of my favorite quotes in one shot is like, if you, I'm gonna mess it up, but it pretty much is saying like, if you had one shot to change your life, like what's stopping you from taking it? And for me, like writing one shot was my one shot of being able to see if that I can do it successfully and see if I could connect with readers and see how terrible my grammar is, find the right people to support me in that because I'm terrible, terrible at grammar. You'll probably find typos. So that's kind of how it fell into my lap. It was kind of like right place, right time, right mindset. And yeah, it was just like I said, the perfect storm. So
yeah, it sounds just like Kismet.
yes, you're 100% right. Yeah. I'm a big everything happens for a reason person. So
Right.
I love that. Yes.
And I'm so happy that now you are getting to do this, share these stories with the world. And like, I literally just got to meet you in person in September at a book convention. So yeah, it was.
Best BookCon I've been to. I loved it.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I love how book cons connect readers to authors even more because you're able to meet them in person and say, "Hey, I love your book for this reason. Thank you for writing this." Have you had any favorite interactions with readers in
Oh my gosh. Yeah. At Tennessee LitCon, I felt like a freaking rock star because there were these two girls who, well, there was many reasons. Like it was just the best experience. But there are these two girls that were wearing Tennessee LitCon shirts that got made, and they wanted authors to sign them. And I went to go sign one of them and was like laughing because one of them had someone signed their boob, and I was like, that is so funny. Like, oh my gosh, hilarious. And the girl was like, well, no one signed my boob. Will you sign my boob? And I was like, no one has ever asked me this before. And I don't think anyone will ever ask me again. So absolutely. And it was just kind of like, I was like, you're making me feel so cool right now because never in my life did I think I would do that. And then these other girls also created, like signing boards for authors, and they had like 5 books on the signing boards, and both of them had one shot on it. And I'm like, out of all of these hundreds of authors that are here who are huge names, like you, for some reason, chose to put my book on that board. Like it was just the coolest experience. I definitely felt like I am a lot cooler than I am. But those are the two that stuck with me. And the signing of the shirt on the boob one, I went in my family group text and my mom was like, I didn't know people did that at book conferences. And I was like, yeah, me either. But here we are, and it was great, and it's something I'll remember for the rest of my life.
That is amazing. I love that for you. And it's always so crazy when you have those like special interactions that
Yeah.
stick with you forever. Not many people that can say they did that. So that's a notch in your belt.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, I kind of feel like a rock star. This must be what it's like for people to want your signature all over the place. So it's very cool.
Literally. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you got to do all that, and I'm
Thank
so
you. Me too.
excited for you and to continue supporting you on this journey. So what I know you mentioned that the topics differ a little bit as far as
Mhm.
emotionally in both One Shot and Summer Shot. What was the thinking process between the two when
Yeah.
you started writing them?
Yeah. So one shot. I had the exact idea of what I wanted. And I knew it was going to end with a happily ever after because all of my books will always, maybe not all of them, all of the series, I will say, will always have happily ever after. Um, that's something I personally need in my books and something
Hmm.
that I want to give to people because life is so difficult. We deserve happily ever afters in books.
Yes.
So I
Right.
knew I wanted to end it, but then I also kind of knew like Lucas and Laura had so much story still for me to tell about them. So I went into it knowing like I will write book 1, I will be Lucas and Lauren, but I want to write more about them. And I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to write. But then as I started writing one shot and got more than like halfway through, which I don't write in order, like chapters. I'm like, don't do it sequentially. I kind of jump all over depending on my mood.
Oh wow.
So I actually started writing some of Summer Shot while I was writing one shot because I just got the idea for it. So definitely a linear pattern. But Summer Shot is a lot more lighthearted. It's fun. You're learning. It's a very like middle of the series book because
Mhm.
you're getting to learn a lot more about the side characters and you're kind of like, what is going on with them? How is this going to, how is this going to impact Lucas and Lauren? What is going on? This person wasn't like this in the first book. So it's very much a builder in that sense of getting to know more of the characters and getting to know more of the backstory behind them. Um, and I wanted to do something that was fun because they're going into their senior year, and senior year is really difficult. And for them, especially trying to figure out like, will I make it to the NHL or not after college? It's a crucial time, so very stressful, very high anxiety. And one thing I want to try to always do, especially in this series, is have a mental health representation
Hmm.
focus within them. And the stress and anxiety of being a college athlete is something that is kind of coming through more in Summer Shot and will continue to be prevalent in Best Shot, which is book 3.
Oh my gosh. I love that. And I think that is so important when you do have those sort of like tropes and storylines because so many people have anxiety for whatever reason. Like whatever, whatever's going on in their life. It might not be necessarily over being an athlete or it might, not necessarily be in college. It might be both. Like it
Mhm.
can be so inclusive with everyone and everybody can usually relate to that. And because anxiety is real and it sucks, but it's awesome when you can see other people, whether it is in a fictional book, because that can happen. You can see people deal with it and still get their happily ever afters, like you were
Mhm.
saying.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think it's something that's really important to me. I struggle with anxiety and have like my entire life. I'm not a pro athlete. I'm not in college. I wasn't a college athlete either. But I think it's still important to see that. And to your point, like it's something that you can connect with and see that you are deserving of everything just as much as anybody else that doesn't have a mental illness or that isn't anxious or that isn't depressed or that hasn't gone through hardships. Like everyone's deserves that at the end of the day.
Exactly. It's just so incredible when you get stories that are so broad with everything that's included. Do you have some favorite characteristics about our MCs from this book?
Oh, um, I think what I really like about Laura is that she's resilient.
Mhm.
She kind of sometimes can be all over the place, as can a lot of people, myself included.
Me too.
But I think that she is very emotional, which kind of makes her kind of be a little bit all over the place. But she is really resilient in the sense of like she's gone through a lot of really hard things in a short amount of time and is still trying to successfully find herself and who she is and basically fall back in love with hockey and through that find what she wants to be, who she wants to be, who she is because she's kind of lost that.
Mhm.
So I would say that's my favorite characteristic of her is like her resilience. Um, I love everything about Lucas, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that my favorite part of him is that he is a golden retriever MMC. Like he is the pure definition of that. Like he is someone who will always fight for you, who will mess up, but will also still try to make up for it.
Mhm.
I think my favorite moment of his is when it's in one shot, but there's a moment where he's kind of like, I need to put myself aside. She really needs me, and I can't be selfish in what like I need right now because I know that this is what she needs and I need to show up for her, and then he does. And
Oh yeah.
that's just that I don't know how to say that in a characteristic, but that for me is when like I fell in love with Lucas and I'm obviously the one writing him, but that was when I was like he is definitely worthy of the Golden Retriever MMC trope because of that moment.
I love that moment. And I mean, what's not to love when I mean, you might not can sum that up into one characteristic, but I think that sums up everything we need to know about Lucas.
Yeah.
I love a golden retriever trope. Like, once I
Yes.
discovered them, I'm like, it's just the perfect. And like, especially like when you have books and it sort of like has quite the dynamic duo where maybe the male is more of the golden retriever and then you have the FMC is sort of like more closed off and it's just like
Mhm.
so crazy how there's a trope for everything now and I
Yes,
never even
there.
knew that these existed until I joined Bookstagram and I'm like, what is a golden retriever? MMC and then it's like morally gray and it's like, okay, introduction,
Yeah.
well done. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many tropes, like in like micro tropes are huge, and there's so
Yes.
many that I'm like, I don't even know what they all are. Like I don't feel like I can keep track because there's always so many going on. But yeah, I would say that's probably well, I was gonna say that's my favorite trope, but that's a lie. I love a slow burn. Slow burns are my favorite trope. So that's something that I always want to write because I love that moment of like well, not one moment, but when you're like, okay, come on, like, come on. And then like you finally get the moment you're waiting for and you're like, okay, I can breathe. It was worth it. And that's what I love about a slow burn book. It's like the angst and
Yeah.
anticipation of getting to exactly where you know that it's leading.
100%. That is why Enemies to Lovers and Slow
Yeah,
Burn will always be my favorites. Like, there is so many
I'm the
out
same.
there. And I didn't even know what a trope was, let's be honest, until I joined Bookstagram a year ago. So it was like quite the welcome when I was like discovering everything that was new in books because I hadn't read regularly since I was like 14.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of people, especially on Bookstagram and Book Talk. I feel like that's kind of like the same sense as like you liked reading when you were younger, but then
Hmm.
like you went to school and you're like reading for fun sounds awful. I have to read for school.
Right.
And then kind of got back into it. And that's how my journey definitely was as well. Like I didn't read at all for like 6 whole years of my life unless it was like a textbook that I was forced to read. And then I think a lot of people also found like, okay, COVID happened. That's
Yeah.
when like a lot of people, myself included, started reading more again. And now I read like over 100 books a year, which is crazy. I do a lot of
Same.
audiobooks also, which I didn't even know was a thing a couple years ago too. So
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
yes, I do. I love a good audiobook.
So what are some of your favorite genres while you're talking about your
Yeah.
yearly?
So I'm a huge romance girl. I through and through. That's my absolute favorite. I'm just a sucker for a good love story. I do really like romantasy.
Hmm.
Um, I think I think I like it because it's less realistic because it's definitely like takes me more out of my everyday and puts me into something where like I can truly escape reality because this is not a reality that can ever exist.
Right.
Where I love romance books, but sometimes I'm like, okay, this is a little too relatable. Sometimes I want something that like I can't relate to where I can pretend to be a part of that story and really like helps me escape reality.
Yeah.
But I romance and romantasy, I would say, are my favorites. My favorite book I've read this year is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I don't know if you've read it,
It's
but
on my TBR. I a mental TBR, and I've
it's
heard great things.
phenomenal. I think that the original cover, you'll have to go look at it after this because I think it looks like Harry Styles. Like old Harry Styles. Like it 100 once you see it, you're never gonna unsee it. Which I love to tell everyone that because it looks like him so much. They're like the same person. And I love
Um, Thank you for that. As an avid One Direction fan since 2012,
it.
that was like the perfect convincing that I needed, as if I needed more. Um,
You'll seriously what like when we wrap up, please go like Google it and you're gonna have to message me and tell me like I'm right. I'm like I know I'm right and it's crazy. I'm like, how could you not see it? How can you as soon as I see it, I'm like, ah, it's wild. But it's such a good book. I definitely recommend. I did do the audio for it. And I did the audio and read like in tandem,
oh,
which was
that's
nice.
always the
That was the
best.
I've never done that before. That's the first book I did it with, and I loved doing that. So now I have to do it more.
Oh my gosh, yes, the immersive reading experience that it
Mm,
is with combining the two. Oh
yes.
my gosh, I think my first tandem read was if you love hockey and if you love romance, have you ever read Lauren Blakely's books?
I have not. I own a few, but I have not read them.
Okay, I cannot recommend them enough. You need to check them out. It was one of hers where I was graciously sent the EARC and the ALC at the same time, and I'm like, huh, I wonder if I could try this together.
Yeah,
And that ruined me.
love
So,
that. Yeah, I feel like I get so much more out of it when I do both. I love romantasy and general fantasy, but
mhm.
sometimes the audio loses me because I'm such a visual person. Sometimes I get distracted and I have to rewind, or
Yeah,
sometimes the world's building is like too vast where I'm like, wait, what is happening? But I found when I do both at the same time for romantasy and fantasy, it works out really well.
yeah, it's like you're really watching a movie
Yeah,
because
yeah.
your eyes and your mind are in your ears, like you're getting all the senses going.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, you're right. It really is. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if hockey is too much of a guess or if I am right with that, but if you could play any sport, what would it be? Or
You're
if you
correct.
did.
Would love to play hockey. I wish I did. I wish I could. I'm terrible at ice skating. I get
Me
asked a
too.
lot if I have played, but I've never played. Um, I just happened to start loving it. My eighth grade boyfriend, I love shouting him out. It so cracks me up because still talk to him like on occasion. We're still friends. But he played hockey and he got me into watching it. So very thankful for that. Without him, I would not have written these books, which is crazy to think about.
That
But yes, I
is
would love to have played hockey. I think in my opinion, it's the hardest sport to play because anybody can run. Not everybody can ice skate. Like, yes, maybe you're slow or maybe you don't enjoy running, but you have to learn a new skill like ice skating to be able to play hockey. And then there's so many other skills on top of that where every other sport, you don't have to do that.
literally like I am awful at ice skating. I
Yeah.
wish like you watch the Christmas movies and you're like, oh my gosh, that would be so
It's so
fun.
cute. Yeah. And you're like,
Oh,
oh, I would be flat on my face like the second. Yeah. It's not.
literally. I went to a birthday party when I was little and I had to like you know how they have the milk crates that you have to hold on to if
Oh,
you
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
extremely are awful like me. That's
I would
literally
probably have to do that. Now I haven't, well, that's a lie. I can stay on my feet. I'm just not very fast. I'm not very fast. But I can stay upright, which is important. But
that's a win.
I don't think I would be able to play hockey at the same time as ice skating. I would need a lot of practice.
Yeah, I also can't multitask, so that would just be like a
Yeah.
no-go for me.
Too funny.
If you could describe Summer Shot in 3 words, what would you choose?
Ooh, I would say I'm blanking, but I had them pick. I knew them before.
I'm sorry, I always
I
have
would
to
say,
ask.
no, that's a good question. I would say unexpected. Especially if you've read one shot, you're kind of like, okay, I'm ready for an emotional roller coaster that will get me in my feels, that will, you know, hit home, that will make me think more than I anticipated to think. But then Summer Shot is unexpected because it doesn't have that. Also unexpected because of some characters that pop up at the end. Um, so I would say definitely unexpected. I think it's fun. It's just fun summer read. It's not really like they don't play so too much into summer, but it gives a look at the characters outside of the hockey rink, which I think is exciting. Like you don't always get to see that, especially within the season. So I'd say it's definitely fun. Um, so unexpected, fun, and it's not as much of a slow burn as One Shot is. It's spicier than One Shot, which is also fun.
Yes.
Um, but it's still a little bit of a slow burn. Um, especially once you get towards the end. So I would say those three. Well, slow burn is 2 words, but that's okay.
Yeah,
Slow
well,
burn,
it can be.
unexpected, and fun would be the 3 words I would use.
Well, that is the perfect combination, and I can't wait for everyone to pick up this book. Thank you so much for doing this episode with me today, letting me arc read your book. I can't wait to get a post up about it. And for everyone listening, I will have all of AC Wonderland's info in the description where you can find her books, find her social media, give her a follow, and check out all the things and see what's next.
Yay, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course, thank you for coming on here and chatting with me. I've had an absolute blast and can't wait to read what's next from you.
And if you're in Nashville, like there is a Nashville book convention. It's not a book convention, but Tempted by Fiction is doing a convention in May. It's like it's supposed to be bigger than the markets they've done before. So you'll have to look into that since it's pretty close to you, and I will be there.
Oh wow, okay. Just add to my 2025 schedule,
It's in May.
2026 schedule.
Yeah, I'm like it's in May, but I can't remember when in May. But yes, you should look into it. They haven't started selling tickets yet. I think they start selling it in like a month. But it's pretty low cost and in Nashville. So
Well,
you
thank you. I will definitely be
can
checking
go.
that out.
Yeah. Have you been to any of their events, like the
I have
Tempted?
not.
Okay. This is gonna be their biggest one because before it hasn't been like at a hotel or anything like that. It's just been like at a brewery, kind of like a pop-up. But this is gonna be more of like an actual con, kind of like Tennessee Lake Con. So
Awesome.
yeah, I'm very excited.
As you should be. Well, thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure getting to do this with you today.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night.